Good evening and welcome. Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Gaelic Lives. We're here in the box at Athletic Grounds in Armagh. What a weekend it is, Ulster final weekend. It's a special edition. We're on the road and we're looking ahead to the biggest weekend of Ulster club football. A clash of Ergal Kieran and Kilcoo, the first time they've met in the championship. But what a prize. Who's going to be crowned Kings of Ulster come Sunday evening. Thankfully, 4 very special guests here to go through it all, and it's great that they came here tonight to give us their thoughts and the key factors and just a general chat about what it's like to be in that bubble with the big games. We have from Ergal, we have Pascal Canavan here, and from Kilcoo, Darragh O'Hanlon, 2 men who have walked that walk. Come out of changing rooms wearing their jersey on big occasions. Will be brilliant insight from both clubs, and we've got a couple of neutral voices here as well. Hopefully they don't have to step in and referee between the 2 lads. We have Ronan Devlin, Ballinderry man, played a bit of football across in Moortown at a stage, but now coaching from St Mary's Maherfeld's Macrory Cup journey, a big player in that. More recently with Cargan coaching under Damien Cassidy, and then walking the sideline himself as manager. They've been the dominant team, and unfortunately for Ronan, they came across the Ergal train in the championship. But fortunately for us, it's a brilliant insight into tonight as to what makes Ergal tick inside that white line. Last but by no means least, we have probably our most local man here, former Antrim keeper Chris Kerr. Lives closer than anybody. He spent a couple of years playing for Ballymacnab, keeping an eye on our own Sean Casey to make sure that he was doing everything right, and back playing with St Gauls. 4 clubs that are influential in this competition. Brilliant to have their insights here tonight. And I suppose first of all, Darragh, we've been informed this is the Kilcoo dressing room as of Sunday, so just keep an eye on Pascal to see, does this here have some sort of a recording device? The last thing we need is some sort of scandal, or Enda McGinley has heard the plan A and the plan B for Darragh and Rory come Sunday. So and as I say, thanks very much for the listeners for tuning in, and thanks to the 4 people who are the show tonight. And it's great to get an insight into, as I say, a massive occasion in the Ulster Club calendar. We also have the Ulster Intermediate Final that's on Saturday between Arva and Ballinderry. We have a special podcast on it as well. It dropped yesterday on our social media, so take a check at our social media. It'll signpost you to Spotify for that final. But tonight, it's all about Armagh, it's all about Ergal, it's all about Kilcoo. To see, does the Seamus McFerrin Cup be bouncing around inside this dressing room, or is it going to be across the corridor in Camp Ergal? Hopefully the 4 amigos can try and find out the answer to those questions. And I suppose, without further ado, Pascal, 22 years ago, you were in Clonus. The Seamus McFerrin Cup was in your hands. What do you remember about that day? And does being back in the final make you think more about it?
Oh, absolutely. But what an introduction there. You could nearly throw the ball in there at any stage, sure you could. But 22 years ago, brilliant. Brilliant memories, and the longer it goes, the better the memories get. And there's still some boys probably still living off that win from 22 years ago, and still make the most of it. But such a special time for club and club members when you do win a trophy like that. There, it's just incredible. And you be chatting to fellas on the run up to this match who were there and how they reacted at the final whistle and what it meant to them. So it's just an incredible buzz, and it helps to remind you what it means to people, and people that are are club members for a lifetime, and to get an opportunity to celebrate with players on a big day like that. It's something they always remember and they talk about. So yeah, special times, and you do recall it, and there's been plenty of chat about it now this last couple of weeks.
I was at your game across Milan and Omi. He's played them twice that year. I just remember, obviously, it was going to replay, but is there a moment that year that turned it for you at any stage? Bearing in mind the Throne Championships an absolute minefield to get out of. But is there a moment that you can sort of pinpoint?
Well, there was a lot of turning points. I suppose Cross maybe has been 2 or 3 times, and one occasion, I think we were getting well beat at half time, and Mickey was manager, and he came in and he just says, look, he picked one positive from the first half, and he says, look, if that had happened, we were beat, we were out. But he says, but it didn't happen, and we're still in. And we went out just with a fresh attitude and a fresh approach. And obviously it made a difference, because we probably could have and should have been beat that day, but we weren't. So there's a lot of turning points, and no doubt Sunday will be the same, where breaking ball here, decisions here, kind of a massive input into how the game finishes. But no, so just we're all looking forward to it.
And going out the road on the bus, you probably didn't ever dream that it'd be 22 years to your back. Is it just the general minefield of Ulster, or is it Tyrone, or what do you put that down to?
Well, I suppose it's well documented in relation to Tyrone and how maybe difficult Tyrone teams find it in Ulster. So you always think you'll get an opportunity, you always work towards getting another opportunity like that, but time tells you that you don't. So it's up to the players on Sunday just to make the most of it. And I've no doubt that they will.
And what's the excitement like around Darragh?
Well, funny, it's been fairly low key. I was telling Chris there just earlier that in the championship in general this year, there's been a low key build up till all the games, and it seems to suit the boys. And it's the same for this game. Now there's a bit of colour about the town, and everybody's looking forward to it. But at the same stage, it's fairly calm and low key, and it's worked so far. So it's the same plan for the weekend.
And Darragh, I was talking to Jared McAvoy during the week. He was the captain 72 years after winning a championship to win it. He won the minor championship that day. It was the start of an unbelievable 13 out of 16 titles. Like, that's amazing. But thinking back to 2009, what comes into your head?
It was unbelievable. Pascal said they won in the Ulster title in the early 2000s. Probably no one even had heard of Kilkenny then. And it's amazing to where our club has come from when my father and Jerome Johnson Senior and them boys who had coached us the whole way up were in Division 3 and 2 and got to Division 1, and they won the league in 2003 in Newcastle. I can remember it just as a young fella, and it was just like nothing you'd ever seen before. Everyone out in the pitch, grown men hugging and kissing and crying. And then fast forward to 2009, just Newry was a sea of black and white, same again. People who had followed Kilkenny for 50, 60, 70 years just couldn't get over it, never thought they'd see the day. And it's just testament to where our club has been. We went away in 2010, 11, and then from 2012 on, won 6 in a row. We had a blip in 2018, and then after that we've won another 6 in a row. So it's been absolutely brilliant. It's just testament to all the hard work that's gone on in our club this last 30, 40 years, right from underage. As you said, we won a minor and a senior in the same day. We won 3 minors in a row, and that crop, like myself and Jerome and Ryan and Bobo and Aaron Morgan and them, straight into the senior team and on to win 6 in a row. So it's a collective. It's from people who coach right at under 8s, people who do the pitch, people who do the tee, everything. It's just a whole community group effort, but it's been unbelievable from where our club has came to where they are now, competing in our 6th Ulster Championship final. So everybody in Kilkenny knows that this just isn't for granted. Whenever I was a young fella growing up in early teens, Mayor Bridge was the team. They had like a Houdini over Kilkenny. We maybe thought they would never win a championship. They had won like something out of 8 out of 10, was it?
10, yeah.
8 out of 10, and then sort of our period of dominance took over. So listen, you can take nothing for granted. You don't know, if you don't keep on top of your youth or you don't keep on top of your club, you may never be back. But just in our case, the the work that has been going on this long and many a day. I think that's why we're at the top of the pile and down anyway, and have been in Ulster this last number of years.
Like Jerome Johnson's goal won you in All Ireland, but that day, I think it was Hilltown, you beat Maybridge in that quarter final in the rain. Aidan Brannigan's goal,
Yeah.
maybe as important a goal as you have got,
Yeah.
possibly, because that seemed to be a massive moment in the history of the club.
Absolutely. I was talking to you outside. I can remember that game, just as a young fella going around, lifting the balls and whatever. The pitch was absolutely saturated. Probably shouldn't have been played. And Kilkenny were getting beat the whole game by Maybridge, you know, who had been on top. And as you say, Chuck got a goal, and just the elation. It was madness. It was crazy. It was like Kilkenny finally got over Maybridge. Probably the monkey on their back for a long time, and then, as you said, 2009 at the final, it was just a sea of black and white. It was unbelievable, and especially to win a minor and a senior in the same day. Never mind just a senior title. It was like a stuff of dreams. Like, you're hearing stories of men haven't seen Kilkenny won hardly anything in their lifetime, and then just we're on the crest of a wave now, and we just don't want it to stop.
And before we move on to our lads, what was it like then making the step into the senior team? Because you've watched on, I think PD had scored a penalty in that final. You know, you're going in then to play in that team. What's that like a few years later?
I suppose looking back, when you're that age, you sort of play with no fear. The shackles are off. We had a lot of success at underage. Our whole group had won the All-Ireland Fela in 06. They would won 3 under-16s in a row and 3 minor in a row. So success breeds success, and like we sort of knew nothing different. So we had come into the senior team, just with no fear. It was just a matter of going playing our own game. Now we had brilliant men who had the experience, like the Anthony Devlins, the Jurdies, as you're saying, Gary McAvoy, my uncle Sean, my uncle Bram was on that side, and then you had Connor and Aidan. You had all them great lads, Stevie Kane and goals. So they kept our feet on the ground too, having won so much at underage. It just wasn't a matter of, you know, coming in and expecting to win. You had to earn it. Like, to be fair, we trained very hard. We were humbled very quick. If we were training, maybe thought we're too big for our boots, we'd get a skate. But
You need a bit of that.
yeah, you definitely do. As a young fella coming into a senior team, you know, I know myself, even like hitting a freeze from outrageous angles and them going wide, and you'd be sort of nipped into line by
Is that the same
senior
in Errigal? Is that the same in Errigal?
Aye, if you're in heads, but Errigal now would soon step into you, right? I think half a chance.
Yep, no names mentioned. No names mentioned.
No, I'll not mention Kieran McCurry. No, I'll not mention his name at all. No.
Ronan, Kilkenny obviously that 13 out of 16, and yourself I suppose been involved with Carrigan with having that regular coming out of the county, but like before a ball was kicked this year, did you envisage Errigal as being the team, and if so, how close do you think they would have been?
Do you know what, by the way, that's very hard to follow, lads. Some great stories, bar 2002, just wasn't as great for us that year, but I keep a wee eye on Tyrone football, and I've got to be honest, I probably, if you put me to the pin of my collar, Trillick was my team this year out of Tyrone. I was convinced they'd go again. Seriously impressive. I just thought they had everything to actually go and win an Ulster club, and you know, the team that beat them was going to be some outfit, and Errigal managed to do it. So to answer your question, I probably wouldn't have picked Errigal for the championship. I just thought Trillick had something about them, and Errigal got that over them, and that just shows a wee bit of steel about them, because that's not an easy side to beat. So I don't know, obviously of the two teams I know an awful lot more about Errigal than I just the proximity to home, but as well as that, obviously we were planning to play them, and things, because we had one of those days, and then it could go wrong, did go wrong. But I was mightily impressed with Errigal that day, in ways that people probably don't realise. You know, you talk about the good football they play and the point scoring from deep and all that, but they were like dogs around breaking balls. It was all the stuff. It was fighting for stuff. It was tackling. It was work rate, and that will probably surprise some people. It shouldn't surprise them, but it might, because they're expecting free flowing football. But there's another side, and it's a necessary side, and they're very good at it too.
And you're obviously back with Carrigan for another year, and like have to ring it up. It was a disappointing day, obviously. Have you watched it much? I'm scared to ask.
Do you know what? I have a couple of fellas helping me and they've watched it several times. I haven't. I can't.
Will you?
I will. But I swear it's probably the worst day I've had. There was nowhere to turn that day, and anything that could go wrong did go wrong. I have to watch it to learn something from it. But geez, I'm not looking forward to it.
And from the point of view, like Ben McDonald ends up full back.
Yeah.
You know, they seem to have changed quite a bit because of Carrigan's size and vice versa. There seemed to be a lot of swapping going on.
Yeah.
But is that what made it difficult, or is it just the fact it was a disappointing day for you?
I just thought we didn't perform. There wasn't a big pile more to it. If you talk to Enda, he'd probably tell you. I think they made changes right at the throw-in, based on where they saw the Carrigan players going. And to be honest, we were glancing up and doing the same thing. And whether they adapted better to it, I don't know. But you know, they got a couple of points to start. I would call them handy enough frees, but 2 point head start, and after that we just couldn't keep the ball. And if you can't keep the ball, you're in trouble. So they controlled the game from day dot. Like, an interesting thing that day was, like, obviously Rory and Darragh, everybody thinks you stop Rory and Darragh, you'll stop Errigal. I think Errigal kicked 19 points that day. And Rory got 1 from play, and it was a gift, it was a mistake one of Ermi, and Darragh got 2. So we kept them relatively quiet, and we managed to get scores from elsewhere. I think 10 different scores that day. So you know, there's threats in different places. I don't want to give everything away here, but you think, shut your face. Stop talking, but no, there's threats all over. I was impressed with them. And obviously I haven't saw Kilcoo in the flesh, just TV and stuff. That's the same stuff as always impressing me. It's that breaking of pace. So it's making it a real good game. And
Chris, why is the Ulster Club so special? That obviously some goals are steeped in it, and the 4 clubs here are as well.
Yeah.
The 2 jerseys behind us. Why? What is it? Because we all love it.
Probably as well. Thanks for keeping best the last there as well, man. I appreciate that. Again, three hard acts to follow. I was thinking what I'm going to say if this man asked me something.
I thought you would landed here with chicken curry first the dinner, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So.
Tight fit jerseys you get into, like there's none of that. I think personally it's the best competition. Like, I think once, like, when you're playing in like your own county championship, you nearly know too much about everyone, where you sort of go into the unknown to a degree. It's just a real nice feel to it, like in November, 2 o'clock throw-ins, you know, it's going to different grounds throughout Ulster, like, it's just, there's something special about it, like, and if you're going on runs or get over the line and get that prize in, it's there's no better feeling, like.
I remember chatting to one of the Ballinary boys one day, we were having a debate, and he pointed to the star on his jersey. He says that's for the Champions League. So it is the Champions League of club football. So yeah. I know you're the Liverpool man over here is absolutely bouncing at the minute here. He's buzzing, but
Can I swap seats?
could be worse. He gets scored to Everton. You know, just
you said about Errigal Kilcoo, yes, man. I was hoping you said he's here for another year. I was hoping he had stepped away, like, for some goals in Corgan, like. But no, it is. It's a super competition, like, and obviously two brilliant teams, like. In the showpiece, like, so. And
from your point of view, with St Gall's being regular champions, going into Ulster, like I suppose every so often you've got an outlier, like a Godor. I remember Slaughtneil came to our final here; it was their first time. But like, does it give you an advantage being regularly out?
I don't know. It does and it doesn't. Like, there's times where maybe we had won. Like, we came in against Kilcoo actually, 2012. I think it might have been, was it your first year, when you senior, like, and like to a degree we had never really heard of Kilcoo really, or never played them even challenge games. It was always, we had played Mayo Bridge a few years previous to that, and played them out here, and probably the chances we missed throughout the game, and they got a man sent off, and still to this day I've never seen a team play with a man down like they did. Like, it was just like, it felt like there was about 18 of them on the pitch, like, and like Darragh's the tallest at like 5'6" or something, like, and they're all just whizzing about, like, and it was just, from then I just thought, like, there's something different, like, and they've just obviously kicked on from then, like, and obviously the minefield of Tyrone, like, Errigal, like, are just a serious outfit too, like, and probably the same as Ronan. You're thinking Trillick last year without Matty winning it, and then him back and whatever, but obviously the two boys, good to see two brothers actually, you know, both of them can score, like, not just not just one on a wee playmaker like. But no, it should be a great game like.
And we're not going to talk about the new rules or goalkeeping or anything like that,
No.
but in terms of this game, Bo Kane and Darragh O'Hanlon, they don't tend to drift that much. They play a wee bit, but it's not right out, it's not the full attack
No.
like some teams. What's your take on it? Does it depend on the team?
Depends on the person in nets too. Like obviously, like I thought everyone like Scottstown, everyone's like straight away Rory begging, no, he was kicking or whatever. But I thought Niall was outstanding. Like his kicking throughout the game was first class. Like he's just solid. He knows what he's good at, and he's just an 8 out of 10 every match for Kilcoot. Like against Argyll Cairn as well, or sorry, against Clonard as well. Argyll were excellent at both kickouts. So as Ronan alluded to, like both of them are serious around breaking ball and stuff. So it'll be a massive part of the game. Kickouts. I know Argyll sort of want that shorter. We're getting a lot of short kickouts away against Clonard, and actually I thought against Scottstown, the size of Scottstown, I thought Kilcoo maybe this is the time to get after them like with the height difference like, but they're just animals around the breaks like. It's just it's just what they're brilliant at like, and as Ron says, like sometimes it's not all the flair and the unreal points, like it's all that stuff that maybe goes unnoticed away from cameras and stuff like. So obviously it's the most important position I think in the pitch like. So we'll see how both teams do off their own kick out and the opposition, like it'll have a say in it.
And you went down the route of marking the keeper, like begging, putting a man on him at different times, so the game's completely changed that way.
It's as Chris says, twofold. Like you
Our
could
Kilcoo under 14's going to do that next year.
just as long as Bobo doesn't come out, 'cause you need a taxi to get back to the lines.
And before we move on to the game itself, just a couple of wee quick fire ones. I don't know whoever can think of it first. Is there a game that sticks out for you in the Ulster Club Championship? Any club, not necessarily your own, that comes into your head right away as a sort of a wow, what a game?
This year.
Any year, there's one that you look back on and you just think, I'll never forget that game.
Probably us and Cross that went to a replay. Just from my own perspective, or Kilcoo's perspective, I played them at the athletic grounds. Played them in Newry first. Sorry, absolutely jam packed. Went right to the wire. Like for us playing Cross Glen, back in 2012, we were sort of in bonus territory, getting to an Ulster final, and as a crowd of young fellas, and your first time in Ulster, you're like, we're up against the mighty Cross McGlen here. We're sort of just folded in the first half in 2012, clawed it back, and then they pulled away at the end. But then, I suppose as a couple of years go on, we have a chance here. We can put our mitts up against anyone in Ulster, but we played them in Newry, and it's just it had everything, just a brilliant game of football. And then it came to the replay here, and we beat them, and it was just like we took a big scalp here. That's when you start to believe then that
like the Mayo Bridging down things.
Exactly, as you says, the Champions League. You're in the Champions League. You're up against the big boys. You've made it to that table now. And you start to believe, Jesus, where could this go? And then on the other side, you get beaten a couple of finals, and you're like, is this ever going to happen, or are we ever going to get the chance to lift that there? So I would say from my point of view that them two Cross games definitely some of the two best games I was ever involved in, especially at club level. Like
these other men are loving the fact that you went first and they've been thinking so. There might not be one because of the competition. It's something that I'm passionate about, the competition, but usually the men who've walked that walk.
I probably, as a young lad watching, it was probably when Ballinderry went on the whole way. Then it was the Pledge and Gulls in Casement, and it was like we were very young. Like that team had just came very young, like, and had pushed Ballinderry, and I think that them sort of even though they're losses and they're probably disappointed, they probably propelled the group on more. Like just like just they're going on to win it then, and we pushed them close. Like so it's probably that one stood out. Obviously Enda, Muldoon dates and stuff like were unbelievable for Ballinderry, and that side were class like, so just unfortunate for us, but thankfully we'll get back a couple of times.
Pascal, Ronan, mustn't thank.
Do you know what?
Doesn't not necessarily your own team, just one that sort of jumps out as a biggie.
You just talk about things breaking for you. We thought maybe in 2006 we actually got Eric in a replay in semi, and got to the cross, and we thought we were going to crack. He talked about getting the big one, the big scalp, and fully confident we were going to do it that day, and it was the worst day in history.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't know how
5-3 or something, was it?
5-2 maybe. I don't know how a game was ever played, but
Yeah.
it was shocking how it even went ahead. But anyway, Cross managed the conditions better, and it was one of those ones where you just thought, if you get over this one, you can go the whole hog. And I think both these teams will be thinking that on Sunday coming. It's not going to stop you going the whole way after this. But it just was interesting. You were talking about all the good stuff, and I can't get away from the losses.
The Cargan thing still.
Sorry,
sitting-
yeah.
You'll watch it yet.
Move on, man.
And Pascal, I suppose.
Aye, but
yourself.
you have your good days and bad days in it. I suppose the last day out was against Glen up in Derry, and it was a super contest, super game. And again, weren't far away. We knew how good Glen were and what was needed to beat them. And the boys weren't that far away, but Glen changed a few things and adapted, and were able to change their game a wee bit in the second half, and they went on to show just how good they were. So even though we were beat, it was still a good contest to be involved in, and the boys performed well. And I suppose the other game you mentioned earlier on was the cross game from all them years ago. That game went to, it was two replays. There's a replay, it was a draw in Omagh, it was a draw in Cross, and then it went to Clonus. So that was always going to be, whoever came out of that, well, deserved to come out of it. And the fact that we got over the line, playing our best football, well, then that was a reminder to us, that we weren't far away.
And then you just had to play Ballinderry, wasn't it, as well?
That's right.
So it just shows you how big a path you had to go that year.
Well, it's a lot of it's a lot of the same names, and it obviously helps when you have been there for a number of times, but sometimes the freshness helps too. Glen obviously came with no history in Ulster, and they showed what they can do. Scotchtown, have had a lot of history, and obviously, sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it doesn't.
Thanks, it's always good to have the insight as to days of the past. But I suppose looking forward, Chris, yourself, Kilcoo's strengths, what is it about them that makes them, I suppose, regular champions, but more importantly, how have they got to Ulster final day?
Yeah, it's just like the last day, like they were said, it's just it's full, just pace everywhere. They work so hard, and they have the ability and talent to go with it, and it's the magic potion every team's after, every management wants, and they have it in abundance, and they'll play it any way you want, and they'll take some stopping too,
And is it like just watching that Scotstown game, they just look like a team that play the 3-second game of training, they play the one-touch game. It's as if you just cannot tie them down. Is that what makes them really dangerous?
Yeah, I'd say chasing after them. Thankfully, I've never had to chase anyone. Well, with these new rules, obviously I might, but hopefully not. But they're just they're laced with pace, and cornerbacks are coming up and scoring goals, and they're a threat all over the pitch. Bobo with his frees even as well, and yeah, they just look really in good shape,
And Ronan, the Argyll side of things, obviously there's Darragh and Ray who have been shooting the lights out, but if you maybe can go back to that St Eunan's game where the last couple of plays where Ben McDonald got free. Is that the danger of trying to tie down two players? Is that or what is it about them? Taking you back to that day when you probably studied them quite a bit before you played them. So
the thing about them is Argyll this year seemed to be finishing strong. That day against Letterkenny, they brought on Tommy Canavan, who's a brilliant player, and Mark Kavanagh. I thought they had good impacts. Every time they bring somebody on, they have an impact. And those lads might actually start the game. So Kilcool have to try and factor in who's going to start the game, who's going to play where. Argyll have shown a good fluidity in their lineup. They don't mind shuffling, which is a real confidence, like a show of confidence in the players. So when depends how caught up you get in matchups and stuff like that. But Ireland can be fairly hard to plan for because you just don't know who's going to go where. Like as an example, we were planning for your wing back like Peter McCartan there can fly and he can go most of the game. And you look back through the team sheets and he's maybe starting cornerback some game, and he's maybe half forward some game, and you wonder what the hell do we do and what do we do if. So you can get confused in that type of stuff. But I don't know. You'd be a fool if you don't go out and mark Darragh and Rory and Peter Hart and people like this, or sorry, keep an eye on them, and it'd be foolish not to. But you also have to realise that there's more threats than that on the pitch.
And as the keeper standing behind them, just Ronan chatted about matchups there. How big a part does the keeper play in matchups? Is it a constant talking shop?
Massive, yeah, especially the two lads mentioned, like, you know, you have to just
he never shuts up. Like,
that's just in the house, that's why I'm in the house. Like constant, like just with the danger, like, but it's say like you can't focus all your attention there because the players are will have all over the pitch, like, you know, you're just like everyone there's 2 or 3 players around Darragh the last day, and then where he scored 9 points, like and he was a bit deeper as well, so it's you can't put all your eggs in one basket. But Kilcoo will be going all out to obviously try and put the clamps on them and then impose their own game on Argyll at time too, like.
But even more generally, is it something as a goalkeeper that you're constantly in the game plan for the matchups? Like, are you more involved? Like you often see teams there when the defenders and the goalie are all in the huddle and they're just waiting till the forward line comes up and then they peel off.
Yeah.
Like communication involved in that.
Trying to disrupt them as best you can, even as well, like, you know, trying to like not me, like, and wouldn't be at it, like, but like even just casually stepping across their run as well, trying to help out, you know, or get in the way or whatever it may be, like just to try and disrupt them. And you know, if they're looking at you, then they're not looking where the ball's coming from too, like, so it's it's massive, like.
And Pascal, from the Argyll side of things, you're obviously going to come up against Kilcoo, and like watching, like obviously the 5'10" just jumps off the page right away, but how do you plan for them, and how do you plan for Shane Johnson? I remember seeing him, I'm not sure if you're at the Ulster League final that night down in Ballinderry, where he just took off down through the middle and you're thinking, who's this lad? You know, that pace. How does Argyll go about that?
It's very hard to deal with, sheer pace, but and that's going to be the name of the game on Sunday, and I suppose the Scotchtown game showed that, just the pace that they have, but it's not something that's new or something that's surprising. You know, but it's just not all about the Scotchtown game. You know, the Cross or Not game was a very low scoring game. You know, it was different conditions, a very different game, and again, Kilcoo could adapt to those conditions as well. So you do know, obviously, that they can play an open style brand of football, but equally, if it's low scoring or defensive, they've won a lot of low scoring games as well. So you know, if you set up one way and you're thinking this is the way it's going to be, games sometimes have they take on a life of their own, as I say, and so sometimes you really do have to focus on your own mentality and your own attitude and your own approach, and make sure that that's working well. And if there is, if there's problems arising, or if there's something happening, or somebody's going well, then again you have to adapt. And Ronan mentioned it earlier on there. This year so far, Argyll have been either lucky or fortunate that they have been able to adapt and move players to where they wouldn't normally be playing, and it seems to have worked well for them. So you put the squeeze on one player on Kilcoo, and I think Ronan mentioned as well, but the scores. The scores are coming from each line of that Kilcoo team. Full back line mightn't have scored against Scotchtown, but the keeper even scored. So yeah, you put the squeeze in one, it's going to leave room for somebody else. So it's a case of the collective being well primed, well tuned in, and just being ready to adapt, like, because there's going to be something that'll go wrong that you haven't planned for. And it's a case of the players adapting for that, and if they're in a good place, or if their attitude's right, they will adapt and they'll make it work. But yeah, the matchups and how that all unfolds, that's part of the reason why everybody's looking forward to it. And it is novel. It's a very novel pairing, which is a bit unusual in Ulster as well. So it leaves it a bit more interesting for the pundits and a bit more interesting for all the clubs and all the counties that are not directly involved on Sunday. They'll all be there. They'll all be looking forward to seeing what the matchups are as well, because it hasn't happened before. It leaves it all the more exciting.
Funny, I did think they'd never met in the championship, and I touched on that in the intro, so at least they're right on that one. But you chatted at the Crusher Lock game, like Paul Devlin scored 7 points. He won a mark, and he was involved in everything. I think Carl Lacey, Darragh's not going to tell us anything here, but Carl Lacey commented on the fact that they just were watching him the last day. But if he comes in, is that a different Kilcoo to play against from Eric's point of view?
Oh, well, here, of course, absolutely.
Even stay?
Well, just Paul Devlin himself, deserves the utmost respect. And the fact that they were able to score all those scores the last day without him was remarkable. But no, he's been there. Their key shooter, their key player in so many high-profile games before. Absolutely, if he's lined out on Sunday, well then you're going to have to adapt, and you have to make plans towards him. If he's not, well then you have to adapt, because they're able to cope and they're able to play without him. But he's such a key player. Absolutely, yeah, he's one to keep an eye on.
And Darragh, you've played in defence, and you've played in that role of covering and all those sorts of things. How do you prepare for playing against Darragh and Ray Canavan? The $1 million question you just have thrown at you.
Is there a right or wrong answer there? I don't know. Is there any answer? First of all, you have to just appreciate two absolutely brilliant footballers. That's just what they are. Like anyone that's going to man on either of them, you're going to get your fill of it, no matter who you are. If you're Michael Fitzsimons or you're whatever the top defenders are, but
Carl Lacey,
yeah, exactly. Billy McMahon, these type of defenders, but it's gonna just take a team effort. Like Kilcoo defend as a team, attack as a team. Yes, there'll be, I'm not gonna be saying who, I don't know anyway, but there'll be someone assigned to mark Rory or somebody assigned to mark Darragh. The boys will get in round and cover. Like Kilcoo teams throughout this last number of years, you never leave anyone hanging out to dry. The fitness is absolutely unbelievable of everybody in the whole panel. So yes, there'll be boys man marking them, I'm sure, but Kilcoo defend as a team, the attack as a team. As the boys said, our attacks come from everywhere, not just one position. Like you've young Callum there, who's just broke into the team as his first year starting. He's been absolutely brilliant. Man of the match in the county final. He's been brilliant in his last couple of Ulster games. He actually scored a point in the first half against Scottstown. There's Niall Brannigan, who's been there and done it this last 15 or so years. Like an unsung hero. He's always tasked with marking the best players, and he'll never let you down. Like, obviously you have Big Ryan in there in full back line. You've Dabbs, absolutely brilliant, one of the best players in Ulster this last 10 years or so. Eugene, he got All-Ireland Club Player of the Year not so long ago. So we're strong everywhere. Yes, the two lads are absolutely brilliant footballers. There's no denying that. I've seen them first hand. I've seen them in Garvahi one day down under 20s, tore us to pieces. Never seen a fella like him. Actually went home and was like, this lad is special. This lad, you know what I really like? They win their own ball. Like they're hard. They win their own ball. They can shoot off either foot. Free kicks from play, anything. Darragh's been exceptional for Tyrone and Darragh. But listen, you're just going to have your hands tied in any defence. So like, there's no magic formula. They're two brilliant footballers, and we'll just have to deal with them Sunday, along with Peter Hart, Ben McDonald, Joe Goose, all these players all over the board.
You're not going to give us any secrets at all, are you?
Oh no,
none. You touched on Eugene. Does he always take the tights off at half time?
It looked a bit weird in the head.
Yeah. I interviewed him after an Ulster club final, and he tells me he's got two different boots and it's superstition or something.
That's true, he has two different boots, yeah.
So
I don't know what that's about.
How did the tights go down?
I don't know, but
I didn't think I'd be allowed to go through.
he looks weird when he just has legs.
You're actually going, this fella has legs.
Yeah, if he keeps putting on performance with tights on, he can keep them on.
Before we move into the last wee bit of the show, just not a wee quick fire one again, just throw at you. A lot of times club players are made up by the key county players, like you maybe cancel each other's other out. Just from watching club football, not necessarily your own club, is there a non-county player that really stands out as a massive player? I say not generally your own club or county, but one that you sort of think that team doesn't tick without them. Darragh went first the last time, so somebody said go first this time.
I always thought even just with Corrigan playing in Ulster, I always think the unsung hero for them for a long time. You know, obviously he is a McCann, but he's not from the same house as Jared McCann for Corrigan. He probably should have played for Antrim a lot more. He never really threw his hat in the ring with the county, like, and just solid, like, just monster of a man. Just kept them anytime he was playing well with his big hits, tackles, just anytime maybe the games maybe getting away with him. Remember a couple of finals against that again, he stepped out and cut someone in two and just sort of lifted the team. And I always thought Jared was very underrated, even coming from an Antrim perspective, like, and I know he got injured, hopefully not too bad the last day, like, but always thought Jared was very, very impressive, and he's always set the tone for Corrigan.
And is that why the leading teams are where they are, because they have players who can do that? Is that the general consensus here?
Maybe.
Is that what separates the teams?
You probably have boys there that, like, just playing for the county just isn't for them, like, and but you know, with their skill set and how they conduct themselves, they do it no problem, like, you know. It's the same as maybe like the Carl Stewart that played for St Gall's, was more probably a hurler, but like equally as good. Got Ulster Football of the Year in 2005, and you know, an unbelievable footballer. Maybe didn't get the same credit. Like, I always loved seeing Carl fit and healthy and playing on our team, like, because you knew you were going to get one. Like,
Your team didn't tick without him.
I was just hard as nails, but play corner forward and
Ronan,
deadly finisher.
what about yourself?
I could be right or wrong here, but maybe another nephew of Pascal's. He's Owen McCusker nephew, isn't he? Do you know, I always found when Dromore was going well.
See, you have your homework done, chap.
No, that's just on the top of my head, no. It's not a spare space gone.
Top scorer for a long time in Tyrone.
I couldn't understand it. Obviously, there's a backstory somewhere. I couldn't understand how he wasn't on the county scene more often. If we went to play Dromore, he was one of the first men you were going after. And he mentioned winning your own ball and being tough. He had everything going for him. The kick scores when they needed, he scored. I always mind, we were going to play a challenge match with Dromore a few years back, and one of the Carrigan lads, and I mentioned, we had to mark Owen McCusker in. Who? Jesus Christ. Like
They knew after it was over.
it was nuts. It's not how such a good player maybe isn't seen that, but there's loads of those players around the country. But I find there seems to be a lot slipped through the net in Tyrone. There's a lot of damn good club players that never played on the white and red. Owen is one that would stick out actually.
Pascal.
And I suppose being involved in Armagh, you get to know the Armagh players there, and Clonairon. I suppose everybody's familiar with them, especially after they're running an Ulster club there as well. But they would have a core of club players, boys that are not in the team, and they invariably, you know, are winning the league in Armagh without their county players as well. You know, the likes of the Rhinos, who was very unfortunate, obviously, to miss out the last day.
Shea Heffron as well.
Heffron was coming back, and you have McCarthy, who was centre half back. Again, unfortunate the last day to go off. So those boys are consistently good club players, and just I've seen them up close this last couple of years. So certainly they don't always make the headlines, but you know they're the backbone of the team.
Darragh.
So we're talking about unsung heroes.
Aye, well.
Not
Yeah.
not
It's
Not just someone who doesn't play county
I suppose
football.
my point is that sometimes the county players cancel each other out, and as you say, somebody else steps up.
just from a Kilcoo's perspective, I think, well, we've touched on Niall Brannigan, we talked about him there. Aaron Morgan is a brilliant player for Kilcoo. He's always available, he's always fit. He breaks up serious play outside the left, he gets bad scores, break ball, he commands a defence. I just think that Aaron, because maybe the odd boys get the headlines like your Jeromes and Sheelans and PD and Dobbs and these ones, but I think Aaron Morgan goes about his business really, really quietly. He's, as I say, he's always a solid 8, 9 out of 10 for Kilcoo, and I just think that he just gels that middle, and I think he's been a brilliant player for us over his last number of years. He maybe just doesn't get the headlines in the papers or whatever, and he's joint captain there with Dobbs, and I don't think that Kilcoo would tick without him.
And just final point each, looking into the game, Ronan, Kilcoo have been in more Ulster finals recently versus Errigal having, I think, far more championship games this year, a preliminary round, and they needed a replay with Canoe. So what's better coming into Sunday, or is it relevant?
I don't know. They both played fairly recently. They both played a couple of games in the last month. I'd imagine training is the best time of year to be training to, the steam rising your shoulders and the floodlights and stuff. I don't know if there's any advantage at this stage. I think what's in the tank is in the tank, and you're now just hoping. I know Pascal alluded to maybe things that are outside your control. You're hoping there's no silly red cards or injuries that maybe ruin your chances early or dent your chances. I just think at this stage the team should be primed to go. I don't know if there's any advantage going way back to a replay with Canoe. I think it's too recent.
Even Canoe, or sorry, even Kilcoo been here on final day, not really.
I don't know. I can't understand. Well, put it this: Kilcoo players themselves probably have that experience. A lot of the Errigal players will have felt that experience watching like a Pascal in these big games, and they'll probably have sucked something off that, you know. And I don't think they'll be fazed by a big game there. I just think it'll be a game of football, and the two teams will go at it, and on the occasion that it is.
And on a different tangent, Chris, maybe a deeper question. How does a manager deal with different players in an environment like this? Like, say they come up to an Ulster final, it's a massive day in both teams' careers, but how do you deal with players in terms of nerves? You have some players who are really nervous, some players who are so relaxed. How does a manager deal with that?
There's the two managers, like I'm one of the players, like there's the two boys that ask that question.
Well, just from the point of view of even just being in those.
Everyone's different, like, you know, like we had a couple of nutcases in our team, like the McGordy's all from the one household actually, like, but like there's no way a manager's going to say to Kevin, like, you know, I want you to calm down here and be thing, and no, Darragh had to mark him out here. Funny story, I don't know if it's for the camera, like, but like it just is what it is. Like, I wouldn't read too much into it. There's boys probably quiet and sit with earphones in. There's boys that like to be loud and in the middle of stuff. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Just as when you cross a line, that's when it's, you know, it's game on. Like, but game with both teams, like, just follow up with Ronan saying there, it's probably the teams that get here with the less injuries, you know, where you can spring boys off the bench or whatever, and, you know, just hopefully both teams are fit and ready to go, like, and it should be a great game.
Pascal, you chatted on the matchups there, and the fact that Ben McDonald had to go to full back to mark a physical player. You had Cormac Quinn was going back, you know, Mel Kelly, whereas 2 goes out to number 6. So in terms of Errigal's defence versus Kilcoo, how do you approach this weekend? And the fact that maybe Errigal's defence has been, not settled, but has been horses for courses.
Yeah, that's right. And again, that's definitely one of their strengths all year. They've been able to adapt and change and try and accommodate wherever the sort of the fire is on any given day. They've been able to adapt and you know, come to terms with it. But with any team, there's key shooters and there's key scorers, and you have to give them, you know, a wee bit more respect. So the likes of Cormac will be earmarked, to pick up some of the boys.
You need to give away the secret there.
No, definitely not. Like any of the teams at the minute, there's very few secrets coming out now from any of the two camps, I'm sure. No, there'll be men given man marking jobs, absolutely, and it's the same for Kilcoo. But it's for Errigal, it's, you know, it's novel, it's new. Obviously Kilcoo have been there recently, this last couple of years, and that experience is great. But the excitement and buzz and run into something that's new as well, there is an energy that can come from that as well, you know. And these fellas, they haven't experienced an Ulster final like this before, but they've played in a lot of games in Tyrone, maybe not always coming out, but over this last 6-7 years they've played in a lot of big games. So the actual occasion itself, I don't think will faze them, but certainly they're work cut out for them now to put out all the fires in Kilcoo.
Is that back to the point I made earlier on, where if there is a different defensive setup, does it come back to Mr. Goalkeeper again to be that steady steady man for the communication.
keeping them right, and then probably Eric will have as well is like you've like Ben and even Peter Hart. You know, Peter Hart can play in the forward line as well, or you can go to centre back or half back. You know, they are very flexible in what they can do. Like, so obviously communicating well. Like you're not gonna like Gary not going to put Darragh in the corner back. There's not going to be that level of communication needed from the keeper. Like, but it's just if someone's not in a position there normally, then you'd have to be their eyes and ears. Like,
2 words, Conor Daverty. 4 touches against Crusherlock, a point. He won a free. Immediate impact. What's it like to play with him?
Yeah, when he came on again, Crosserlock, the game was crying out for him. He settled the whole thing down. He scored a brilliant point. You never see him scoring outside of the bit from outside the 14.
Collector's
a great score, and he set up PD for his vital score. So, listen, Conor has a wealth of experience. I'm sure we'll see him in the game at some stage, and you know what a sub to bring on. Cool head. He's been there and done it. He'll slow the game down. He'll not give the ball away. He'll get boys involved in the game. If there's a free round the defence, you'll see him taking it and popping it and going again. But in the changing room, he'll be very vocal, and it's just brilliant to have leaders all over. Like we've leaders all over, and Conor's one of them. We've Aidan, you'll have PD, all them lads. So we've leaders everywhere. But Conor will definitely be massive, and he'll play a massive part on Sunday at some stage, I'm sure.
I was chatting to Jerry McAvoy about the whole farming versus Trinity versus all his irons and fair. He claims he's not a farmer at all.
Yeah,
So
that is
he says anybody who has a couple of ewes can call themselves a farmer, so I'm not sure where that fits there. So
if you have 3 sheep, does that make me a shepherd too? No, he does a bit of farming and all that there, and he has about 400 wee boys, so I'm sure he keeps busy. Like,
but just is there a temptation to start him after that impact, or is that taken away from what you need with 15 to go?
oh, I'm sure. Listen, Carl Lacey, he'll have his team probably in his head. Listen, Conor will want to start, like if you're asking him, but if you're thinking of a tactical point of view here, or if you're thinking from Kilcoo hat on here, if the game's tight and you're fit to bring Conor Lavery off the bench for 10 or 15 minutes, like that's massive, because this game will not be a Scottstown, this will not be a 5-10 scoreline, you can be sure of that. So to have an old head like that there come on again, like as Crosserlock, there's no better man to spring off the bench when he knows how to do it. He's been there and done it. He'll do the right thing, and his wealth of experience could just get you over the line. So listen, if he starts, he starts. But I'm sure whenever he features, he'll have a massive input.
Wee final point just before we go into the predictions. I suppose the whole Stephen Campbell not being listed for an All-Star, and I thought he should have got one, but Pascal, Ronan, just with the management hat on, how important is the impact man, and does it leave your job easier now that you can say to somebody, look, you're going to win this game? Or is that a myth?
I suppose it has changed a wee bit. I wouldn't get too worried or too full of praise when somebody gets 4 touches. I get 4 touches minis a day.
What did you do with them?
Probably get that there, but it is, look, teams seem to have changed a wee bit in the sense that if you look back 20, 30 years, there's very few subs made. You can look at cluster finals and maybe no subs made, potentially 1, and you're now looking at you're allowed 5 again, and there are fellas who now are strangely, luckily not throwing their head up when they've been told maybe you're a finisher rather than a starter, and they're happy to go and do that job. Whereas years gone by, you knew that if you didn't start, you mightn't get 5 minutes.
Is that a team culture thing then?
It has to be something. It was very individual before. I suppose you knew you trained to play, and you knew right if you weren't in the first 15, chances are, unless you were winning by a cricket score, you weren't getting on. Or so now the lads know the fitness levels. People won't last. You've seen fellas going down with cramp. They're fitter than ever. Those fellas going down now 55 minutes into a game with cramp. And that's to see if you can bring on a wee bit of pace. Now Connor's a different story. Connor's coming down to settle and people really smart and stuff. But there's other finishers who come on with a bit of pace, and it is massive. But we're saying there about Connor doing that. Look, Tommy and Mark Canavan or Cavan have come over Ireland and done, had similar impacts in a different way. So both teams have got that in the locker. But any good team now is going to bring men on the bench. Dublin for Kevin McManaman was a man for years for doing it.
Took the words out of my mouth. I'm just thinking from the point of view, does there come a time where you have to be able to say, no, you're actually a starter now, or does it become superstitious?
Well,
Or does it depend on the opposition?
Mondask is Kieran McGinney who's perfected that this year with great success, and that's obviously his biggest strength, and the reason why Armagh did what they did was the fact that he was able to keep 40-45 fellas happy and competing. Maybe not always happy, but he kept them on board, which was a remarkable achievement. And a lot of those fellas that weren't starting at the start of the year went on to become starters. I don't think McCambridge started at the start of the year, and when he did get his chance, well then he showed what he could do. And it was the same for a number of other players who maybe started games, the likes of Derry up in Derry, and really laid down markers. So and Stephen Campbell maybe unlucky in that he got that name as a super sub. But you do, and invariably when Ronan talked about starters and your finishers, when boys are coming on now, it's not to see out a game, or it's not because somebody's just maybe running out of steam. You're bringing them on to make an impact, and it takes a certain type of character and a certain type of player to be able to do that. Because most players, or some players, it's quite easy to feel sorry for yourself, and that's what happens. And some players can't adapt, can't cope with that, or can't deal with that. So when you get a man who's able to come on with 10, even 5, some stage of the second half, and able to perform, it's a great characteristic, and it says a lot about that player. And again, obviously, both teams have been able to do that. Especially with Errigal in particular, they've been involved in so many close and so many tight games. They've had to make changes, and sometimes they're very tactical. But it's the fact that you have men on the bench that's willing to come on, and they have made an impact. They have made a difference. Errigal's played in a lot of close games, probably closer than you'd want them to be. And you mentioned earlier on about the Clonode games, but the Pomeroy game was also close, and there was changes made to Clonode games. They were close the whole way through. So yeah, we were very glad all year to have a bench that boys, when they came on, were willing and ready to make a difference. So it's massive, and he says it's more maybe of a team culture now than wasn't expected of boys, even maybe 7, 8 years ago. Yeah.
Now for the easy bit, the prediction time. Finish off, so
Pascal, go first.
who is the boombox going to be bouncing in here in the Kilcoo dressing room, or is the excitement going to be with Errigal? What do you think, Pascal? Where does the cup go?
Well,
we know where you want it to go, but where is it going to go?
Yeah, well, they say the bookies don't get it wrong that often, and we don't have bookies in Ballygally. We might have the odd bookmaker, but we don't have bookies. And yeah, there hasn't been too many running put bets on in Errigal. Okay, so and Kilcoo have been Kilcoo. And there's no secrets with Kilcoo in relation to how they play and how they set up. But Errigal have been, I think it's fair to say, Errigal have been struggling to get over the line, but they invariably have got over the line, and that was back up in Loch McCrory against Pomeroy and against Clonode, and obviously against Tulloch, as Ronan talked about earlier as well. I wouldn't say that they struggled that day. They played very well, but it was a very, very close game, which they managed to get over. It was the same against the Unions as well. So without playing spectacular, they've been able to dig out performances, and I suppose that's been one of their characteristics this year. And if they're to get over the line on Sunday, it'll be the exact same. But I think it's fair to say it's no secret that Kilcoo, they're favourites, they're strong favourites, and some of that is in the back of their Scotchtown game, but I don't think it's just simply in that. It's the fact that they've been there and they've done it. Kilcoo's strong favourites.
There's a but.
But you know, if it's go down the final straight, you know, the game's there to go on. I know our boys they'll not be afraid to win it.
You giving a nod? You scared to?
If they're there in the final straight and the game's go on, they'll not be afraid of it.
Darragh, well hard to predict whenever your own team's playing. These other two amigos, they have the easy shot, they have the easy street.
You can't go again your own, can you? So
You're maybe not allowed, are you? Was that part of
no,
the
you don't want to sound cocky or arrogant. Like I'm not. You don't want to come across that way. But I'll back me own. Kilcoo, yeah, I'm gonna say Kilcoo be 3. No disrespect. I think Argyll's a very good side. Brilliant footballers, and as Pascal said, they have been, you know, winning dirty, which is a good sign of a team as well. But no, I'm gonna stick with Kilcoo and put my hat in 3.
Chris or Ronan, who's jumping up first?
No,
None of you?
no, right.
It's
Ronan,
hard,
what do you think?
hard to analyse it. The semi-final, I think the scoreline, not that I'm saying it flattered Kilcoo, but those 2 goals changed the course of that game. I'm not sure Scottstown are as far off as the final score to say, and they'll be really disappointed. But it was impressive that Kilcoo went on ahead and kicked on even after that. So if you're looking at it on recent performances, you might say, yeah, Kilcoo have been more impressive and they'll take it. But like, I just find they're hard to plan for. You're going through all the tight games. Unfortunately, there's one game that wasn't tight, and it's going to sicken me yet. But when I mean back, obviously, I came on to Balderry's panel. The first year I came on.
Is this your therapy night, is it?
I swear to God. I have a beer calendar at home, right? I'm going to take the 3 of them. The first 3 days of December was that's just you want as well. I mean, coming into Balderry, a few of us came in as minors in 2002, and we're all learning champions that time. And I always remember the build up to the Airedale game, and there's a couple of good Canavan players playing that day too, Canavan brothers, and we spent an awful lot of time planning for them. And the one at the top end of the pitch in particular, and I gotta say, there was threats from everywhere else beat us that day. And the forward line, like Mark Hart, the Quare game, the other wee man up in the corner played really well, and Airedale beat us well, and that was all Ireland champions. And unfortunately, if Kilcoo aren't at the level that they have been at, I can see Airedale sneaking in and taking it. And my own mate Stevie Quinn is coaching them, so I'll give him the nod.
So we have an Airedale, we have a Kilcoo, and we have a maybe Chris.
Jeez, I don't even know where to start. Probably, like, both are obviously class outfits. Like, it's again, Pascal probably said, like, it's hard to look past Kilcoo just based on the experience they've had in the competition, like, and where they've kicked on, going to Croke Park and went, like, you know, it'll stand by them. You know, Carl Lacey's on the line, Conor Laverty's an inter-county manager in the change room as a player too. Like, you know, it's massive to have that experience. But again, no one ended being in under him with Antrim and stuff. You know, Argyll will not take a backward step here. Like, you know, it's just it's been a long time since the Tyrone team has got this far in the competition, and they'll be wanting to come here and lay down a marker, like, and bring the Seamus McFerrin back to Tiffy's bar. But I'd probably just go with Kilcoo by the minimum. But again, if Argyll won, I wouldn't be surprised. It's very sitting on the fence.
2-1.
2.1.
2-2, Mal, you're the decider.
I give Kilcoo a hesitant nod on the Gaelic live, so I know Pascal's just keeping his cards close. That probably brings us to the end of our show, and we're probably no further forward to picking our winner, but some of our predictions were right on Monday, the rest of them will be the usual everybody wrote us off, the boys haven't got a clue type scenario. But welcome to the world of talking balls. So thanks to Chris, to Pascal, to Darragh and Ronan. They have been the show, invaluable insights, and thanks to the listeners for tuning in, to my team at the Gaelic Life, the 2 Niles, and Sean Haggerty, our cameraman, good Armagh man here keeping an eye on us all. And again, we'll have a review show on Monday. We'll be looking back to the reaction, all the angles of where the games turned and didn't turn, and we'll find out who the Kings of Ulster are And also every Monday and Thursday we will have a podcast going out, and again GaelicLife.com for all your GA coverage during the year, and a wee plug for 25% offer for the people at home who don't want to buy any more aftershave or don't want to buy any more socks. There is that wee gift for somebody who wants to buy something for that GA fanatic at home. But again, more importantly, thanks to the four lads, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll see where the beats are beaten at here come Sunday evening.